Hey, great people. I think it's in order to say Happy
New Year.
How do you feel?
I feel excited. I feel hopeful. Not just for my personal life, so in our relationship, looking forward to a lot of things. Also for you guys, we believe that this year is a different year. It's a year of big, audacious goals for every couple that's going to be partnering with us. Every couple that keeps coming here to watch our video, that's what I mean. Every couple that engages with what we do, we believe that this year is going to be a year where we're going to make massive accomplishments, major milestones to be accomplished this year. That's what we are believing we're believing for you guys. And that's why we want to talk about this particular video, because you can't talk about achieving big goals without deepening your intimacy with your couple, with your spouse.
Yes.
Without deepening your intimacy with your spouse. Spouses that achieve big goals, that achieve big things together, they are spouses that are in tune with each other, that have deepened their intimacy, because when these two people are not connected, I'm telling you, everybody will be working in their own camp. So they don't synergize their capacity. And synergy is about one thing. 1 + 1 is greater than 2. Think about that. Synergy is 1 + 1 greater than 2. For some people it's 4, for some people it's 6, for some people it's 10, for some people it's 100. Based on how they have been able to navigate and to synergize their unique individual strengths and to pull it together.
So the question now is, are you ready?
Are you ready for this year?
I am so ready.
I am
ready? Expectant.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to great things. Looking forward to big things. Yes, with my dude right
Yeah.
here.
I'm excited as well.
Yes. So it's with great joy. With you here, Chidi Akunna.
Victor Akunna.
And if you're new to our channel, this is where we talk everything about romance, intimacy, and family. Okay, at the end of the day, the quality of the society is dependent on the quality of the family.
Fantastic.
And that's why we're so big on it.
Fantastic.
Okay, we were talking this morning and we were just sharing. I said, it just takes people doing good around, okay, for the society to be positively impacted.
Nice.
Okay, so imagine someone around you doing something really bad. Okay, it would affect the comfort of everyone there. And that's why we're so big on the family. All right, the state of things in your family. But then it starts with you.
Yes.
It starts with you. Are you ready? Because we'll be taking it to another level this year. Hey, you want to join us on this ride? Okay, so if you're new to our channel, please subscribe and turn on the bell next to it so you're notified when we drop our content. And to every returning subscriber, you know how we do. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so we've come your way with a topic today, which I think is really crucial, okay, to hitting it big this year. Intimacy goals. Rev up the intimacy between you.
Yes.
Okay, and we in talking about this, we're just thinking, you've got to be your spouse's best G.
Hey.
You've got to be your spouse's best G. I'm
your best girl. I'm your best G.
You're my best
guy.
Okay, and that's the acronym we'll be working with today. And B, which we'll be starting with, you need to be there for each other. You need to be there for each other. Can your spouse count on you this year? Can your spouse count on you? Let's forget about all that's happened prior to this time, okay? Because we focus more on becoming. It's about who you become.
Yes.
That's what decides the state of things in your relationship. Okay, so can your spouse count on you this year? You need to get to that point where you say, I'm going to be there for him. Some people are there for you when things are all great. Hey, okay, but then when it doesn't look so great, you turn around and they're not with you. Okay, it's really sad when that's your spouse, because for me, in my personal life, this is one person I know will always be there for me. So it really doesn't matter. I know God is there, but God works through human beings as well. So he is an expression of God's love to me. Knowing that I have that it gives so much confidence to me to know that, hey, there's someone with you, there's someone cheering you on, there's someone who will be there, who's got your back. Okay, even when it doesn't look like it, can your spouse count on you?
This is so powerful, honestly. Especially for guys. One thing about guys is that we might look so macho, but most of us are really soft inside. And so you want your spouse to be that person that come rain, come shine will always be there. I'm speaking from a male perspective, for example. There are goals you want to achieve and maybe they didn't quite work out well, and you just need that spouse that will be there for you in the trenches. Not just to be there with you at the pinnacle, but there in the valley to be like, guy, come on, you're good, you're better than this. Someone that will see something that even you cannot see about yourself, that will speak to you in those low moments where you are doubting your own capacity. You know, the course of the year, last year, I had some things I aimed for that I didn't quite get. But you know, my wife was there, she was speaking words to me. When at the end of the day, I crushed all those goals at the end of the day. So sometimes people don't remember, like I think it was Martin Luther King Jr. would say something, that in the times of crisis, we don't remember and that was the way he put it. He said, we remember the silence of our friends, not the noise of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. You know, it's when you really need those intimate relationships, you begin to check, okay, was she really there for me? Was he really there for me? So we have to be there for our spouses. And once you do that for your spouse, there is a level of bond that evolves from that reality, that evolves from that, you know, at the end of the day, it's those people that are really there that you know that you begin to become vulnerable and sharing of. I'm jumping to the next point now, but that's one key thing, being there for each other, so critical.
And it's possible that your spouse may have made some mistakes, okay, in the past, and you've kind of given up because you expected more, and that did not happen. Okay, so we're imploring you today to try again, to trust again, to want to be there for him, give him or her another chance. Okay, and for the spouse who is being given another chance, don't mess it up.
Don't spoil it.
Okay, I mean, marriage should benefit you both. So it's not nice. Giving an example. It's not nice when your spouse trusts you probably financially and then you go and waste the money and come back and expect that, hey, you'll be pardoned. Okay, it's not nice when one person keeps pardoning and forgiving and forgiving on the same issue. The expectation is that you become better. All right, you improve yourself. So if you've messed up in the past and you're given another chance, please don't throw it up. So don't throw it away.
I like that point you mentioned. Develop yourself, because sometimes people want to be there for their spouses, but they don't have the capacity. All right, so if you have a spouse that's involved in an industry that is highly complicated and they're going through a rough patch, but they can't really turn to you because you don't really know what they're doing. So sometimes we need to develop yourself to get into that space where mentally you can support your spouse. All right, not just in terms of encouragement, but also in terms of ideas, in terms of whatever they will find really valuable. Be that spouse. I'm not saying you should be all to your spouse. We can't. But the places where your spouse really needs you, be there.
Okay, so the next one, E, entertain each other.
Yes.
Right, and when we talk about this, it might sound funny, like, entertain my spouse. Yes, make each other laugh.
Laugh a lot.
It's about the quality of the times you spend together.
Yeah.
All right, and that has a way, like you were saying earlier, to that in a way impacts on the bond between you.
Yep.
Okay, and aside that, it secretes hormones, feel good hormones. Okay, that helps your health as well. That improves you as an individual. All right, they encourage us to laugh. So entertain each other. Don't let it not be that you are in your spouse's life and that person seeks entertainment, seeks laughter, seeks enjoyment, leisure outside of your relationship. Yes, we will have support systems, we will have all of those relationships around us. But then what happens between the both of you? Because that really affects you more than we even know. It affects you critically. Okay, when people are not in good terms in a relationship, it impacts their health with them not knowing. Yes, you might think it's okay, I'm just gonna walk out and go be with the girls and have some good time, but you're gonna come back home. Yes, you're going to return. So make the most of that relationship.
Fantastic. People go where they have fun. It means people go where they are celebrated, not where they are tolerated. Where you enjoy. Think about when you were growing up, where you enjoy to be. It's where you celebrate. It's where you are having fun. It's where you are having a good time, based on your definition of a good time. All right. So at the end of the day, we should work towards creating, developing our sense of humor. If that's what does it for you, or that we do a lot of laughter, we do a lot of comedy, we watch things together. Sometimes I can just be goofy around the house just to see the reaction on my wife's face. All right, so there is something about creating fun that's why comedians are celebrated all over the world in a lot of places. Once they walk in, everybody it puts people in a certain state of mind, certain state of behavior. Why? Because they have programmed us to see them from a positive vibe.
Yeah.
So let your spouse also be that person. You be that person for your spouse as well. Create fun, create laughter. Not be that spouse that once you are coming up, everybody knows, from the door, you've already started complaining, this is not in the right place, that is not in the right place, why is she doing this, why is he doing this, I thought we agreed. And at the end of the day, even though you have the right to do that because it's based on an agreement, but don't let people have that feeling about you, especially your spouse. Right? Some people, while you're growing up, at the moment you hear your dad coming home, the whole house changes, the mood and the tempo of the whole house changes. All right, you don't be that. You didn't like that feeling while you were growing up. Don't recreate that same program. Change that program and write a new software. All right, the software of laughter, of entertaining your spouse, entertaining each other, having a nice time. That's where people want to be.
And the wise man said, laughter is good medicine.
It's good medicine for the soul. It helps with the wrinkles. All right, people constantly is it frown? Yes. The wrinkles develop more. Why? Because the muscles of the face are working extra hard. You don't need all that.
So let's laugh more this year. Okay, so the next one is support each other. Now it might sound like the point we shared previously, but it's different. It is different.
It's likely different, right? Because supporting each other is like looking at, like you mentioned something a very good example you guys used, saying some people know how to be there for each other when it's rosy, but they don't know how to be there for each other when the person is low. All right, so
supporting now, it's like in the high times.
Yes, in the high time as well. So some people know how to be there for each other in the low moments, but they don't know how to celebrate each other when their spouses are achieving success. So we've heard stories of guys that were fretting when their spouses got financial increment at work, and so their ego was impacted. I should be the one anymore. No, you are the head of the family. Nobody's contending that position. The president of the nation is not necessarily the person earning the most in that country. I mean, right now the richest man in the world is Elon Musk. All right, but he's not the president of the nation. Joe Biden is on his salary. All right, so even though he is the one creating the enabling environment, he's not the one earning. So don't have that belief system. I don't know where sometimes it's cultural, sometimes it's just discussion that you must earn more than your wife. It's not necessarily so. All right. And as a woman, don't have that mindset that your husband must earn more than you. It doesn't matter. It's a family economy. You all bring it together. What's the name of this? Elon said he's going to be paying. He's mentioned, it's 1 billion tax or something? Guess where that tax is going to go? It's going to be distributed in the economy to be able to do different things at different times. He doesn't have control the moment he pays the tax. All right, so where he has control is probably to vote who is going to be there. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't matter how much he brings in or how much I bring in. It's a family economy. We distribute it to be of blessing to our community, to our ministry, to our personal lives. That's what you're supposed to be. So having that support person for your spouse, pushing her to go higher, helping her to see her blind spot because she can't see her blind spot. Have you considered this? Have you considered this? For example, this year there are things that we are going to be doing in our personal careers. We're discussing in that this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to be supporting her as she is supporting me as well. Some professional qualification I was able to achieve last year, she was constantly pushing me, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? All right, so when I got it, she could see the joy in her face as well. So that's how life is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So when I have a good news, my first thought should be sharing you to my spouse. So when I feel like if I discuss you to my spouse now, she'll feel like, another success. No, that shouldn't be for someone that you call your life partner. I don't think that should be the case. So be there to support each other. Additionally, is to also be there to support each other is to look at ways they can improve, like I said, in their career, in their personal life, in their spiritual growth. If you see that your spouse used to pray a lot, they used to study the word, they don't do that again, encourage it. even when they fight back, they refuse, but you said something and they will think about it much later. All right, let's be there, because there's something we used to say: who you are is who you bring into the relationship. If your spouse is not playing the bigger game that they can be, your marriage will be impacted. I can tell you that for sure. If I'm my worst version, my marriage will be impacted, because that negative energy I'm going to bring into that relationship and get the people that pay for it, the people closest to you.
Yeah. Okay, good point. Good point. Okay, so the next point we have here, transparency.
Yep.
All right, transparency. And we encourage spouses to be open with each other. Get to that point where you can share. And as I was speaking about this, I read an article, and the person was trying to say that it's up to the person at what level of sharing that takes place. Yeah. Okay, but I mean, this is why we are big on vulnerability as well, right? Vulnerability is that point where, yes, there will be deep sharing, but I'm not bothered about how you perceive me after sharing that. Okay, I know that you won't be judging me or looking at me otherwise, or looking down on me after sharing that. So I'm comfortable sharing. So we're encouraging you. Yes, we're encouraging transparency, but don't just stop there. Get to the point where you're truly vulnerable with your spouse.
Fantastic.
Okay, where I can open up. But that won't happen if I don't trust that you will
handle it
right
well.
of me. Exactly. So you see why we both need to be improving each other.
Fantastic.
In our individual lives,
Yep. Because there's the first thing first is both for the person who is if you are the one sharing, it's my responsibility to manage it well and to take it right. All right. And to just bring this up, sometimes this is why teenagers don't share some things with their parents, because they don't trust how their parents are going to react. And even though they know, even if when they trust, they know the parents are not emotionally ready. And so you see a way whereby you unconsciously push our teenagers away to their peer group. No, we must create a safe haven where your spouse can come with you even though you are angry, yes. But it shouldn't get to that point where it makes the other person shut down what you're going to share. All right, we must create a safe haven. So for the person sharing, it's highly encouraging. After the first point is create an enabling environment where people can share. In fact, we call it emotional intimacy, where you can feel vulnerable, you can be yourself. And that's one of the qualities I was looking for when I was going to get married. I said, I want that person in whose presence I can be myself. What I was actually saying, in essence, is I want that person with whom I can be vulnerable. I can, I can say things about myself without polishing them. Yes. All right, polishing is good, but you can polish with other people, but not with her, for crying out loud. I must get to that point where you say, babe, I'm really concerned about this. Babe, I'm not happy about this. Babe, I have a challenge in this area. How can you be of help? All right. Until relationship gets to that point, there's a level of intimacy you cannot build with that person. Even you will know. And one thing about us is that we don't respect people that we can't be that vulnerable with. That's true. You just know that, we're just playing games here. Yes. Or, there's a level of intimacy. That's why when you find yourself begin to share more with other people that are not your spouse, you are creating an emotional bond. And that's a red flag for you. So that's why sharing is an automatic thing of creating emotional bond. It doesn't matter who you are doing that with. That's why we are recommending you do that with your spouse. Because once you have that, remember we said intimacy goals. Once you achieve these intimacy goals, it will help both of you to build up and multiply the power in your synergy and to be able to achieve big goals. Because for you to achieve a big goal, you must be able to count on your team members. I think it was Michael Jordan that said something that one person can win a match, but it takes a team to win a tournament. All right. So for you to win a bigger game, to play a bigger game this year, 2022, or any other year, on any other thing, you must be able to count on your team members. And you can't count on your team members without doing all this stuff that we have mentioned. First one we talked about be there for each other. Why is that? If you are a member of a team and people are not there for you when you don't feel committed to that team.
If they're there for you only when you're winning.
Only when you're winning. You don't feel a part of that team.
Yes.
All right. Second point, entertaining each other. You guys don't have fun. That's why you see all these footballers, what they do after a while, after the game, they have fun together in the garden. They are, shaking the, what they call it now, the wine or whatever, and pouring it on each other. They're having fun. They are playing. All right. If you are that kind of person that don't connect with them, that you always isolate yourself, they begin to feel awkward around you because they feel like you're judging them or something. All right. And then we talk about S, supporting each other, holding each other's hand up. Very important for you to be able to do that. So you know that, this person, she said something, I can always count on this person to support me. I can always count on my wife. And so that frees up my mind to dream big dreams because I know I have the system in place to be able to achieve those dreams. And then we talked about the T.
Yes, transparency.
And then I'll let you talk about
the next. I was just before then, as you were speaking, I was just thinking about someone who is in a toxic relationship. Okay, intimacy will be impacted because there will be. I mean, we're talking about transparency going on to vulnerability. That will not be present.
Yes.
Okay, because there would be deep sharing. I can't be that vulnerable with you when I know that it comes on you. You could be crazy at some point, and I don't know how it's going to happen. So for a person like that listening, you need to seek help. Okay, maybe talk to your spouse. I know there are cases where it's so difficult, and we understand that, where it's really difficult for you to even approach this spouse who is toxic to discuss this, because that would lead to even more toxicity in the relationship. Okay, and it's sad.
In a situation like that, both of you may have to seek help, get counselors into the relationship. Why? Because your skill level and your emotional state is not adequate to resolve the issue.
Yes.
That's why anytime you try to do that, it creates bigger issues. Not that you guys are bad, your skill level and your emotional states may not be adequate to resolve the level of the toxicity in your relationship. Right? Because this is a skill set. And then knowledge. So if your knowledge, your skill set and is not adequate for that, there's nothing you're going to find. You're going to be spiraling down and downwards and downwards and downwards, because that's the default nature of human nature, is to go down. All right, so you have to levitate. You need to, that's why gravity always pulls us down to keep us grounded. All right, so to move up, you need to exert energy. All right, so that's why success doesn't come by default. You have to apply yourself to move up. If you leave yourself, you're going to stay down and go even further. All right, so that's one key thing. And then what's the next point?
Yes. Grow together. Grow together. Be your spouse's best G. You must ensure that you're growing together. Let it not be that one person is advancing and the other is not catching up. Okay, so we're encouraging you. If you're the person who is going up, you need to pause, stop, and then pull your spouse along. Okay, the funny thing is, you might be growing in, say, like your careers or something, but you know where there's a gap, and you know those areas that you have gaps. Okay, it might be just social learning, and you are learning more, and you've come to realize that yes, even though your spouse is exposed, your spouse is a career person, when you go out, your spouse doesn't quite fit. But that might just be due to a lack of knowledge. So you need to be exposing your spouse to the kind of information you're exposing yourself to. Because we've seen knowledge turn things around in relationships.
Fantastic. I was going to ask you, so how do we grow together as a couple?
I mean, when I see something that really catches my attention, I want him to be in on it as well. So I might send it. You send me things as well.
Yes.
And sometimes you're asking me, I've noticed you've not read what I sent. And how you know is, yes, I've not brought it up for discussion.
Yes.
Right. So we have to be that intentional. Sometimes. And this is why we encourage people to want to go for information, because there are relationships where you see this and one person actually makes the effort to make the information available. But if I make the effort, it's your responsibility to actually go for the information, to pick up the information, take it in.
Fantastic.
Right. So that's what we do.
Fantastic. Another way we do it is that we read together.
We research together.
We listen to YouTube, different YouTube channels that are really educative. She finds a lot of those fantastic YouTube, and she just be playing them, and we're just listening while we're doing stuff, and then we discuss them. Sometimes I'm the one that bring them up. So there are different ways to learn. Different ways where the bad part is when you are the one bringing information and you have a spouse that has just close-minded on specific issue. It can be really difficult. Really difficult. But don't give up there.
Don't give up.
All right.
Yes.
Knowledge is a seed. Just keep doing what you're doing. One day it might be one thing that you just say. Or it's something that they hear that will just make them make that little tweak. That little tweak will make a huge difference on the long haul. All right.
And then maybe
Don't
study your spouse and know what works for this person. Because there are people who don't like reading. So if that's the case, there are opportunities these days for several modes of learning, like getting that information. So it could be through podcasts, it could be through a YouTube channel or something. So what matters is that the person gets the information. I was listening to somebody one day and the person said, oh no, you don't force your spouse to go for the information. No, you don't have to force your spouse, but you need to encourage it. You need to encourage it because at the end of the day, what you don't want is that gap. Okay, where there's a gap in information and you are acting based on the level of knowledge you have. Okay, you definitely would not be on the same level.
Yes, it
okay,
would.
It's either one person gets irritated that the other is not catching up, or the other person gets irritated that he's expecting too much from me. You see, so at that point it begins to cause a lot of friction in the relationship. So yes, you're not gonna impose it, but you need to encourage and find ways to get the information. Sometimes it may even be through seminars. Just maybe take the spouse to a seminar where the topic would be addressed. That's another way.
We have some courses that you can find on our website. Another reason why this is really important is because it helps decision making. If my thinking about money is largely different from my thinking, guess what? We're going to be fighting a lot around this because we will not have a common vision. All right, we're going to be disagreeing. That's what I'm trying to say. So conflict is just when people have really opposing perspective on an issue. That's what brings conflict. So that's why one of the best way of learning together, you guys begin to discuss what you're doing. You're proactively addressing conflicts. So sometimes when some couples say they don't have conflict, they're actually correct because of sometimes there's a way they manage things. All right, it doesn't mean they don't disagree. They don't have conflict. Disagreement is different. I disagree on this. Okay, let's look at information together, and then you resolve it. All right, so that's another important. It helps decision making for you to be able to achieve big goals. All right, you have to be on the same frequency on an issue. It doesn't mean you should agree all the time. No, there are things that my wife will say, no, I disagree on it, and then I will bring my own perspective. In the presence of wars rubbing minds, she's making me better because there is her experience and her background is treasure, which I didn't have. All right, so bringing her perspective to it, well, okay, I grew up this way. This is how we did it in my home, and we were fine. But bringing her own perspective shows me that we're not fine. Just that I didn't know that we're not fine. You understand? So it helps you become that full rounded individual, and that's the benefit of these things, of having somebody that is completely different from you, but you guys agree on common values. Values are the key things. Practices might be different, but you must agree on values. You must agree on values.
We're going on to a better life.
Yes.
So we need to adopt all of this.
Very, very critical. Very critical.
All right. So you go on, adopt the steps, and be your spouse's best G. Okay, best girl, best guy. And if you're new to our channel, please subscribe and turn on your the bell next to it so you're notified. Hey, the point got me. So you're notified when we drop our content. And yes, we will see you on the other side.
See you on the other side. Happy New Year once again.
Happy New Year.
Bye.